Hello and welcome to the Video Game Book Club
Konnichiwa.
or Comic Club, Magazine Club.
Yes.
Yes, this month we read the Nintendo Power StarFox comics by Benimaru Ito. I didn't know if picking a comic from Nintendo Power would count for a book club thing.
Nintendo Power is a magazine, right? And then this
Yes.
was in like the back of the issue.
So this was a 132-page series that ran in Nintendo Power from issue 45 in February 1993 to issue 55 in December 1993.
And it's in, I want to say there was 11, right? Because I have 11 acts. So
You have 11 acts?
yeah.
Oh, I also have 11 acts. Oops, I
we
forgot.
can count.
Yeah, I thought there was only 10.
Yeah, there was a lot, which I thought, I'm like February to December, that's 10, but
A whole year
math.
of StarFox look forward to in 1993.
Yes.
Did you read Nintendo Power?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Mm-mm.
I never read. I still haven't read.
I didn't even know it was a thing, so.
You didn't know Nintendo Power was a thing?
No.
I knew Nintendo Power was a thing. I just never read it. What did you read any video game magazines?
You had Game Informer for a while. That's pretty much the only one that I read.
There
Like
was
93, I was like a teenager, so I was reading like Teen Bop and Teen Vogue and all those dumb magazines that didn't last.
I think some of them are still kicking.
Probably.
I kind of miss them. Get them at the supermarket.
The giant Game Informers.
Is Nintendo Power even still around? How long has Nintendo Power been out of service?
Well, considering I didn't even know it existed, that's a good question. Let's ask our magic answer box. I actually did research on StarFox, but I did zero research on Nintendo Power.
Throwing you the curveball questions here.
You're the one who chose it.
Well, yeah, because I got super into StarFox and I wanted to read the comics.
So Nintendo Power is a video game news according to Wikipedia, right? Mm-hmm. First published in July/August of 1988.
Dang.
So the magazine's publication was initially done monthly by Nintendo of America and then independently. And then in December of 2007, it was contracted to Future US, a subsidiary of the British publisher Future. The 24-year production run is one of the longest of all video game magazines in the US and Canada.
Still?
Canada. I don't think they're still around. Final issue was in 2012.
Oh, that's actually a lot later.
So 285 issues.
Dang. Okay. Wow. The more you know. So this is an adaptation of StarFox from the Super Nintendo with an early expanded plot that is noticeably different from subsequent installments and features characters never before seen or seen again in the StarFox universe.
I'm gonna interrupt you because apparently on December 20th in 2017, Nintendo Power officially returned as a podcast.
A podcast?
Yeah.
Like this? Oh
like this.
My goodness. How does that work? How do you turn
a magazine?
Read the news and then like reviews?
There was 49 issues as of May of 2022, so it looks like it's still around.
I wouldn't call them issues if it's a podcast.
Number of episodes.
Yeah, how would you do that? How would you turn a magazine into a podcast?
I guess if you're just talking about games, it's kind of like what we're doing with books.
Let me read you the comic.
It's kind of interesting how we went from a lot of people watching things, right? And streaming became popular, still is. But then podcasts come in, almost like we're reverting back to old school radio shows.
Oh, yeah, kind of. It's fun. Podcasts, I say on a podcast, this is kind of weird, but goes like from popular to like not really popular, like super popular again. I feel like podcasts are making a comeback right now. Do you feel that way? I feel like I've heard a lot more people getting into podcasts again.
Everything comes in waves. I think people just get sick of the streaming wars and all that.
Yeah.
And then you can, because you can podcast anywhere, and yeah, you can watch shows pretty much anywhere on your phone now. But people have to drive and look like they're paying attention at least. So I did find the Nintendo Power podcast on Google Podcasts.
All right.
The last one I see here is 2021, Super NES 30th anniversary, but could be more on other podcasting Where you get your podcasts.
Okay, back to StarFox. I already said the thing about this it being an adaptation. From the first game that came out, this Super Nintendo version.
So
Not the 64.
Yeah, StarFox is an arcade-style rail shooter and third-person action adventure. It came out in 1993.
This comic came out before
Yes.
the game came out to give you like background lore on the characters, even though it's a little bit different, this comic, than
I feel like
what
this
goes
is
down.
the same thing that we see sometimes with book adaptations where they get information from the game company early, but then the game company changes that information because a lot of things get changed up until like release date where they have plot lines and characters and stuff that get changed quite a bit. So they probably gave them like an initial like
idea,
and then
they just Do
we know which characters don't show up later on?
Well, I know this one has Farah Phoenix, which is a Finnick Fox lady, and she doesn't show up in Star Fox until Star Fox 2, which was previously unreleased until recently when it came out with, you know, those consoles that they've been coming out with that they're just like, oh, here's an old
retro
SNES,
consoles,
with all the games pre-installed. There's one that came out in like 2017 for the SNES that had Star Fox 2 on it, and Star Fox 2 was previously never released. But it was done, just never released. And
never released in the United States or never released anywhere.
Anywhere. And she was a playable character in that one.
Lady Power.
But she's not in any of the other ones. That's who I'm assuming they're talking about, because I think everyone else pretty much, except for...
I mean, you have some...
The android pig, which is not a thing.
He should be. He should get his own show.
Okay, I want to talk about the cover of this comic. So there's this theory about their legs. Have you heard about this?
No.
This is the first thing I've ever heard about Star Fox in my life before I started playing it. But
it's like an android leg.
There's a theory that Star Fox pilots have their legs amputated
so they can fit
sustain more G-force.
The little bunny rabbit has it too.
Can prevent blood clotting. I just believed it.
But the Falcon doesn't have it. But so look at the hair. I'm sorry, I called it a bunny rabbit. It's Peppy the hair.
Peppy the hair.
But he looks like he has it, and then the Falco doesn't.
Yeah, they look like they have robot legs in this picture. I know if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can't see it, but just imagine a fox with robot legs.
But he's in like the Captain Morgan stance, and his pants are rolled up on the one that's lifted, and then it's metal.
He just has such a tiny little ankle that they said it was just artistic choice that it looked like that, and they don't actually.
They've got it on both of them because you can see
amputated
on the bottom. There's a sticker
because at that point it would just be your like ankle leg to be amputated.
Yeah, he's got like his full leg, or at least by the knee. That's all metal.
But it's not true. They do not have their legs amputated.
Because he's wearing boots for all of it, so you can't really tell other than that.
A theory that came from this exact image for this comic, because people were like, wait a minute. These look like robot limbs.
Yeah, I didn't really take a hard look at the cover, but I don't remember seeing it anywhere else in the comic, so I just kind of took it as cover art, not...
That's how they wanted you to take it, but people took it way too far.
Maybe he loses his leg later.
That's what I thought. I heard there was a twist in the Star Fox games. Someone's like, oh, there's a really good twist. And then when I was playing it, I'm not going to spoil it, don't worry. Around the end of the game, I was like, oh, is this where he loses his leg? And the person I was playing with was like, what? No!
These are really dark there. You're like, oh, wait, is this where he loses?
And the twist was not as dark. I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest. I went from like, oh, this is where he's gonna lose his limbs, to like, oh, this is the twist. Oh, okay.
No, not so bad.
Not so bad. What do you think of the art style?
It was interesting because some of it's really like cartoony, and then there are like certain instances where Star Fox get like super mad, and it's like scary.
I love this art because it's like hyper realistic. The Star Fox characters are scary because they like have human bodies, but they got like really animal faces.
So it's almost when we read the Five Nights at Freddy's, it's kind of what I would imagine they would look like instead of the low res things that they actually are in the game.
On the like stop motion looking cover that we just talked about, they look like there's like stuffed, you know?
Yes. So some of it is very realistic, and it's comics. So some of it is drawn a little bit more quickly and stylized, and
I like the pastel colors. Very bright, very 70s
Yes.
future psychedelic.
It was the
Looking.
90s. Everything was like neon and bright colors before we got into this dark dystopian world
Dystopian, everything's
that
like
we currently
tinted
live
green.
in. Yep.
Gross.
Gross. Do we want to talk about the fact that Ito is known for other things as well?
Well, he's just done a lot of stuff with Nintendo.
Yes.
I was just looking at his wiki page a second ago.
Because as I was reading this, I'm like, I've heard that name before.
Benimaru Ito, he draws a lot of comic strips. He also drew the one in Nintendo Power for Super Metroid, Ness's Great Adventure, Bulbasaur's Troubles, and a bunch of other Pokemon ones.
So he did Pokemon stuff.
Mm-hmm. He did some of the trading cards. He worked on some of the games. His character design for Earthbound. That's cool. Card illustrator for Pokemon cards.
Mm-hmm. So get out your Pokemon, kids, because
I think I might have some of his drawings
that's
on
like
Pokemon cards.
The OG cards are the ones that are worth a crazy amount of money.
Mine are probably drawn on. I got them from like a thrift store, so they probably were doodled on. People would draw mustache Pikachu's and stuff on the cards you get from thrift stores. Tragic. He worked on Kirby and Picross 3D on the Nintendo DS. I love Picross.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a puzzle game.
Oh.
All right. Anyway, let's spoil StarFox.
Let's get into it.
We're going to talk about the entire plot of this comic. You, I guess, will not need to read it, but if you want to, you can just look up StarFox Nintendo Power comic and you will find it.
Yes.
Online.
Savvy sent me the link to it.
So I know it's hard to acquire Nintendo Power comics.
It is definitely retro.
So you can just look it up. It'll be online if you want to read it yourself. If you don't, you just listen to us.
Yes.
Tell you the tale.
I mean, the artwork, if you're into StarFox, the artwork, I think it's definitely worth taking a look at. Did you, so I don't remember ever playing StarFox.
Really?
I mean, I could have, and it's just been a while.
Mm. Did you play the 64 one?
I don't think we had a 64.
Oh, well.
Back in my day.
Well, we didn't have a SNES, so we wouldn't play the SNES one.
We are definitely a Sega family, so
I didn't play it until recently.
Yeah.
But I have to say that Star Fox 64 is my favorite game of all time.
When did the new trailer come out? Was it
the what?
Aren't they bringing it back? I thought we saw a trailer on E3, and like I know what it was, but
the last one that came out was for the Wii U, which I also played, which is not very good. It's like a retelling of the events of the SNES one. Did you know 64 is a retelling of the events of the SNES one?
Yes.
And then they have a DS one that's a retelling of the events of the 64 one, and then they have
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
They need to move on.
2021?
There's been an announcement that there might be a new Star Fox game coming.
Yeah, I thought we saw like a little like teaser trailer.
We haven't.
For one of the E3 things.
Not recently. It's been since the Wii U.
Several years.
It's been a while. It's bound. I hope it makes a comeback. I want another Star Fox game.
Because I remember saying I knew what it was. Like I know what Star Fox is, but I don't think I ever played it.
You're missing out. You should play 64.
So for the 64 is when they first came out with dialogue.
Yeah.
So
it's the same dialogue, but now they
Super
actually voice it.
Super Nintendo is like box like
they pop up and they go like blap 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 blap, and it's really cute.
And then you got to make your own voices like we do when we play other games like that.
Well, they kind of have a voice. They just speak weird.
The blue blue blue.
Yeah, they just do.
They speak in blue blue.
Beep and dap daps.
Did you enjoy this comic?
I did. I really like this comic. This comic is really weird, but I kind of liked it.
From a literature standpoint, there is a lot of plot holes and like things that I was like, wait, what? What's happening? What's going on? So I mean, the artwork's really beautiful. Story wise, I did not enjoy it all that much.
Oh.
But it's really short. It took me about an hour to read the whole thing. Again, the artwork's beautifully done. But there's definitely some things that I had to go back and reread some things to be like, wait, what? What's happening? When did that happen?
I'm curious to hear what you didn't get when we get.
Well, things like just pop up. I have questions like always, but that's what this spoiler section is for you to answer all my questions. Are we ready?
Yes.
Act 1,
Desperado. Oh, this is an axe, which is kind of cool.
So each magazine, I feel like, was a different act. Because it's always
so.
like to be to continue, and then you have the cover art for the next one, and that's so. I do have all the acts written, so I think you do too. So
yes,
we will organize it as such.
On the planet Pepitude.
Papetoon?
Papetoon.
Papetoon?
Yes.
P-A-P...
Papetoon. Pepet.
P-A-P-E-T-O-L-N? I'm going to say Papetoon.
Okay.
Fox, McCloud, and company are stealing from Emperor Andros. This gave me really first episode of Firefly vibes.
Yeah.
Where that's the first episode of the show is they're like doing a heist.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Raiding an Imperial ship.
They're going to steal some stuff because they're going to give it to the people of the town.
Yeah, they stole some Hyper Twinkies and also Herbert.
Which I thought was a real pig.
Yeah, it said Android Pig, though, on the first page.
Oh.
It says, Herbert, the Emperor Andros's favorite android pig.
I apparently glossed over that because I was like, his favorite pig named Herbert.
His favorite robot pig.
They don't really give us a lot of context who Emperor Andros is.
Yeah, they don't now.
Which is weird to me that he's called Emperor Andros with all the other backstory stuff. So the lizards are the ones that are calling him Emperor?
Yeah.
And everyone else decided to keep that title?
I guess. I mean, he has so he's like Emperor, but obviously only to a couple of people, and I guess they just call him that.
Everyone just calls him Emperor Andros. But only for like the beginning of it. That's why I feel like there was like a story disconnect because then they just refer to him as Andros. Like
after they take him out, they just call him Andros.
Yeah.
Afterwards. So I don't know what to tell you, man. They just call him Emperor Andros.
That's what I put. Dude, StarFox is kind of scary when he slaps the bird.
Oh yeah, looks like a real fox. It was kind of awesome.
Sharp teeth and.
So the group we got Slippy Toad, Peppy Hare, and Falco Lombardi, which is a frog and a hare and a bird.
Yes.
I don't know what kind of bird.
It reminds me of Coco from the Imaginary Friends show.
Oh, okay.
But like not as cartoony.
Yeah,
is he supposed to be a falcon?
I think he's supposed to be Falco.
But he's got like blue and
supposed to be like a falcon because his name is Falco.
But he doesn't look like a falcon now.
So stupid.
He looks
obviously.
He's got like other coloring.
He's Italian. Lombardi. It's an Italian falcon.
I'm still saying he looks like Coco from the Imaginary Friends show.
They consider themselves Robin Hood types who steal from Imperial ships and give Hyper Twinkies to the poor.
And they were part of some... There's like this backstory that's like not fully explained.
What do you need help with?
Because they were part of like...
They were part of the
Imperial
military.
Fleet or whatever it's called.
Yes, they were part of the Corneria military before, but then they left. And they talk about it. They talk about it.
They talk about way later. But the first comic, the first edition or act, I was confused because I know what StarFox is, but I don't like know all the stuff.
You gotta like build up to it. So right now, all you need to know is that this is a group of outlaws, quote unquote, and that
StarFox
used to be a part of
Falco really don't like each other.
They don't.
I'm like, are they even friends?
Not really. Falco's kind of a douche, and Fox is also.
Yeah.
But in the games, you're Fox, so.
I also like the fact that they have a golden rule, and their golden rule is make the guy with the gold pay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, haven't you heard of that golden rule? The guy with the gold pays.
So Falco wants to steal real money from commercial freighters, and Fox is like, no! And then punches him. Really aggressively. And then storms off. They send Slippy to deliver the Twinkies to the village, and when he gets back, he's got this hollow telegram for Fox from General Pepper of the Corneria Planetary Defense Council.
General, last time I heard he was a sergeant.
Ba-dum-bum.
Sergeant Pepper.
Pepper wants to hire this band of mercenaries to pilot the new R-Wings and fight the Emperor's troops. So because the gang has no money, and in order to get to where General Pepper is, they have to stow away on a freighter.
Yes. Does this bring us to... Is this Act 2?
I was going to say, oh no, Imperial lizards are attacking the freighter, and then it's Act 2.
Oh, no. Cliffhanger.
To be continued.
But Slippy is not with them?
Slippy is... So they're all hiding in this, like, tiny cargo container, and they're like, where's Slippy? Slippy is in, like, a mud bath somewhere, where they're transporting mud.
Because he's a frog.
And they're like, frogs have it made. They just get to hang out in mud baths. So yeah.
But why they weren't in individual cargo crates, or why they all jammed together into one is the comic.
They just want to talk to each other while they're on this long flight.
Why they don't even like each other. And Peppy, the hare, is, like, barely in these comics.
Yeah, well, he's barely in the game. So he's Fox's dad's friend in the games, and so that's why he calls him like Junior and stuff.
Oh.
And he came back after his dad disappeared to help his son.
Because he's always, like, listening to something or, like...
He's got big ears. He's the
so
hair.
He's the...
He's the sage council listener guy.
So the actor is called Silver Wings, and the lizards are attacking, and so... Hiya!
They're zapping and kicking lizards.
Smack!
But why are the Imperial troops on the freighter?
And then there's this weird dinosaur thing.
What?
That has the Farrah the Fox.
Oh, that's still a lizard. I said the lizards are holding Farrah Phoenix, daughter of the spaceship owning rich guy.
Yeah, Magnet.
There's just a rich guy on the ship, and his daughter is being held hostage, and StarFox team is like, he's bluffing. There's no way he's gonna shoot her. But Slippy saves the day, coming out of a water tube and slamming the lid down on the lizard's head. To say thanks, Mr. Phoenix upgrades them to first class.
Yes. I like when they ask, like, how are you going to do it? It's like, we're going to give 115%. I'm like, how do you... Then we're with Pepper.
Yes, we're with Pepper.
Who is a hound dog.
He ain't nothing but...
And he likes suckers.
He likes suckers. He must be trying to quit smoking.
And so, all of a sudden, we, like, time jump here, I feel like.
So we go from the freighter to... the army base?
Yeah, and they're already in the R-Wings, and it looks like they've been riding them for a while, and then all of a sudden...
Farrah appears
in an R-Wing, and she's like, someone has to test these.
She's the chief test pilot. But oh no, they entered Imperial space.
Because she's like, chase
me.
And everyone else is like, nope. But of course, Fox has to show off, so he goes after her.
Yep. Big show.
But it's all a big trap, because now we're in Act 3.
The thrill is gone.
The thrill is gone.
They get attacked and fight an attack carrier.
A giant trash compactor is how they describe it.
Farrah is hit, and she has to eject out of her plane and is caught by Fox. And then Fox just bombs the attack carrier.
Yes. And Andros is like, no.
Why? And so StarFox team won the first battle. Next, they scored the outer provinces, cleaned up the border territories, and cleansed the capital of Imperial scum. But the fight had just begun. Because we gotta get to Venom.
Yes, and I like that the other line is, they finished off the space armada like a donut in a fat farm. I just wrote, really, eye roll.
What does that mean? In a fat farm?
So you like
a farm...
of fat people.
Is that what they really meant?
Yes.
That's weird. That's a weird expression.
And awful.
That's strange.
Some things just don't age or translate well.
Yeah, maybe that was a weird translation. Because this is definitely, I feel like, translated from Japanese.
Yes. The one-liners are very cringy.
That makes me sad.
But I think they're supposed to be.
Because I think that the one-liners in the game are really good. Like, I know they're supposed to be cringy, and I heard that the people making it were like, I don't want to put these liners in because they're going to be cringe. Yeah. But they're like, just do it anyway. And then it came out really well because the voice actors just killed it. So I have to say, don't be judged by this comic. The one-liners in the game are really good. They have to get to the Imperial base on Venom. Andros... his face smashes the glass.
And this is, I feel like, kind of the first introduction. I just thought he was a giant being.
That's fair. I don't blame you for thinking that.
And I was like, wait, what's happening?
Just Wizard of Oz them, basically.
Yes, and he is an orangutan?
I don't know. I think he's, I don't know.
Call him an ape, so.
Just an ape,
but he looks like an orangutan. Gorilla? No. He's got the, like, chubby cheek thingies.
He's got fluff.
Yeah, so that's what.
I don't know my monkeys from my marmoseps.
He has a telekinetic amplifier.
Yep, and that's what he's using to basically control his troops. That's what they bring up later.
Yes. Yeah.
So people aren't really loyal to him. They're just being hypnotized.
But so that's how he can project his face for a huge distance and break the window.
The window that General Pepper and Farrah were standing in front of, chit-chatting about Fox's dad.
Yeah, he's like, don't you know the story? And she's like, what's the story? And then
Andros has to interrupt.
And then that brings us to Act 4.
Oh, Andros dropped in to say that he just hates Fox and we better watch out. That's why he popped in. Yeah. He's like, hey, just so you know, I freaking hate this guy and I'm coming for you.
But Fox also really hates Andros, and we'll find out here in a moment why. And Act 4, the legacy. Wait, we're not at Act 4 yet?
We're not at Act 4 yet, because StarFox team comes in, because they heard the glass crack. Yeah. and they feel threatened. So they're like, how are we going to get to Andros and Venom faster than what we're currently doing? And Fox is like, we're going to go through a black hole. That's what we're going to do. Act 4.
Oh, Act 4. A black hole is out of the question.
Yeah, everyone thinks that the black hole idea is stupid.
And then he's talking about this, like, he's talking about this theory which has to do with a fourth dimensional warp. And I'm like, that's a time warp, right? The fourth dimension is time?
I don't know. Is it? I don't know if it's a time.
I thought it was time.
Maybe. That makes sense.
But then they don't travel, I guess,
They travel interdimensionally. When it comes to this sci-fi mumbo-jumbo jargon, I'm like, yeah, okay. It's like fantasy where they're like magic. I'm like, cool, sounds good. Apparently Fox's dad flew through the black hole and disappeared. So that's why people are like, not a good idea, dude. Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up. There's no easy, because it's talking about dimensional and is the addition of length, breadth, and depth, specifically coordinating with the 3 rectangular coordinates, especially when interrupted at the coordinates of the space-time continuum. Yeah, time. Fourth dimension of time.
Okay. Was it different in 93?
I don't think so.
I think we're just throwing out space jargon at this point.
Yeah, I'm like, meh. I mean, technically, I guess if you do the wormhole, you are traveling at a faster or slower rate, right? So you are technically traveling in time.
I guess that would make sense because you're time traveling to get there faster.
Yeah.
Right? So.
But it's the whole Einstein bridge theory with wormhole stuff. But that's not explained in this comic, so
it's a Nintendo video game. I'm sure they didn't put that much thought into it. People keep calling Fox Junior, even though his dad's name is James.
I feel like they weren't really calling him Junior until they were like, "Hey, Junior, bring this up, Junior."
They brought it up because they needed him to get mad about it.
Yes.
In this section of the comic, but I think that makes a little bit of sense considering this is from a magazine that comes out every once in a while. So if they were calling him Junior the whole time, people reading it would be confused if they just popped in. So they only started calling him Junior because this is like what, the 4th issue of the comic. So they're like, okay, we got to make a point.
Well, yes, let us tell you why we call him Junior, even though we just started calling him Junior.
So his dad's name is Fox in the comics, but in the games his dad's name is James.
Oh. Well.
So that's what's kind of confusing about that.
Yeah, we don't want to call him Junior because then everyone would be confused.
I love the fact that Fox's dad in the game is named James McLeod, and it's just the model of Fox with sunglasses on. It is the funniest thing ever, and I love that. Anyway.
So Fox is getting mad, and so Falco's like, I know how to calm him down, and he just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, Falco's like, it's just like the old Academy days. There's only one thing that can cool Fox down, and it's beating him up until he is knocked out.
And then they put him in the brig.
And they're trying to figure out, they're like, maybe we can get the R-Wing to go through the black hole without ripping apart. We just have to do some modifications to it.
The frog has to do all the things.
Yeah, the frog's the mechanic. Love Slippy. Slippy's my fave. I will have no hate for Slippy.
What does Falco do? So the hair is communications, right? Because he's listening to everything.
Yeah.
Slippy is the mechanic, and then Falco is
supposed to be the ace pilot, so he's supposed to be a really good pilot and a really good shot and can fly really fast. That was his thing.
But he's always showed up by
always.
Fox. So he's just the grumpy. He's always second place. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
That's why it's StarFox and not StarFalco.
Falco. Let me hear the story about Fox Senior.
We do, because Farrah shows up and is like, why'd you guys knock Fox out? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. If you go talk to Pepper. And that's when we hear about it. Fox's backstory.
Fox Sr. volunteered to test Andros's gravity bomb. And so when he did I feel like later on we get an additional part of the story, which I feel like was different than this one.
How is it different? Because he sabotaged his ship.
He said car.
He did say car.
Yeah, but then he just tries to kill him a second time. But like that was on purpose, and this one was not on purpose.
I'm pretty sure this one was on purpose.
You don't find that out till later. So he makes the gravity bomb, and it goes off, but it creates a black hole, and then his ship gets pulled into the black hole, and then everyone blames Andros, and so they kick him out of the galaxy and push him to the end of the universe.
Yep, he's exiled.
And then he becomes a emperor.
Yeah, he's like exiled to. I mean, we find out about this later. With we'll find. Andros will
lizard
tell us
people.
later. Don't worry about it. This isn't about him. This is about
Yeah.
Fox Senior or James.
So we don't hear about Fox's mom at this point either.
No.
That comes up later. But so Fox is really mad because he blames Andros for his dad getting sucked into a black hole.
Which is fair.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, he did.
But he did volunteer as well to test this thing.
Yeah, but he didn't volunteer to, like, die.
You're testing a bomb in space, so.
Reckless.
And then Fox Lady Farah is like, I'll get you out.
Oh, yeah, she's, she busts Fox out of his room, and they steal 2 of the R-Wings that the B team was working on.
Yeah, they're working on trying to make this a safer thing for them to go through the black hole, and they just dip.
Fox and Farah just steal it.
I'm like, are they even friends? Are these people even friends?
Yes, they're academy buddies, and one of them is your dad's friend.
But he's like barely in it. At least he's barely in the comic.
Peppy. He's barely in anything. But yeah, I think Slippy and Falco.
It's like Sly Cooper all over again,
they knew each other from school. So they're school buddies.
And then as the 2 foxes are leaving, it says every leader needs a team. But I'm like, you just left your team behind. I think she meant like she's the team, but I was confused.
I think that is what she meant.
I was like, you just left your team behind. Every leader needs a team. What is happening?
Falco and Pep and Slip go after them in 2 other R-Wings, and Pep and Slip have to squeeze into one. This is Act 5, fixing a hole, by the way.
Are they in 2 or are they in 1? Because there's only 3 R-Wings, right?
There's 4 R-Wings.
I thought originally they said there was only 3. That's why I'm like confused at some of these things. And then another one appeared.
Because I think because Ferris blew up.
Yeah.
Right? So there's only 4. It's Slippy, Peppy's, Falco's, and Fox's. There's only 4 R-Wings.
Then
they took 2. So Fox and Farah
blew
took
up,
2.
Right? Are there 4 total?
There was 5.
Okay,
Farah's
5.
blew up.
Okay.
So now we only have 4.
Okay.
So Fox and Farah steal 2. So that means that the only 2 that are left, one of them has Falco and the other one has both Peppy and Slippy in it. So we only have 4.
So they're in the black hole.
Yeah, they go through the black hole.
It's like a ship graveyard. There's just ships all over the place, just floating around.
They all thought the same thing. They tried the same thing.
Yes, it's very psychedelic in there too. It's like all these colors.
This is based on the game.
Okay.
There is a thing you can do, and I think it was like Sector Y or something like that, where you can go through these circles while playing the game. And if you manage to get through all of them, you go into the psychedelic level where the music's all trippy. None of your characters say anything. It's all spooky, and then you pop out and you're closer to Venom. So it's actually an in-game thing that you can do this.
Then Fox hears a voice.
It's his dad's ghost.
Ooh.
That helps him escape the hole.
Go this way. I like the fact that B Team also escapes the hole because
they followed him in there.
Slippy put a tracking device on it.
Yeah, smart. Yeah, so all of them went into the hole. You think that if they were so nervous about them going into the hole and then they just went in, that Falco and Peppy and Slippy would be like, we shouldn't go in the hole. But nope, they just went for it.
And now we're at Venom.
Yep, now they poofed out next to Venom. They're getting shot at.
I have another question.
Huh.
Because how did they get into the control chamber?
What, through the vents?
But when did they land on the planet?
Well, Fox, Farah, so everyone's there. Fox, Farah, Pippi, Slippy, and Falco are all flying around.
And they're doing the whole Star Wars thing where you have to go up the middle to shoot the core.
Fox can make it through Andros's barrier that he created, because Andros is like, oh no, they're here. Quick, put the barrier up. But Fox is too fast, and he makes it through the barrier. Everyone else is like, oh man, we didn't make it in time. I'm assuming they did not show this, so Fox is fighting Andros's big face that's shooting at him with tiles. Yeah. This is the boss fight of the end of the SNES game.
It reminds me of Tron.
Yes. That is what he's fighting. Meanwhile, Peppy and Slippy are sneaking through the vents to the Andros Control Center. So what I'm assuming is what happening, because they did not show you this.
No, all of a sudden they're in the control room.
And they probably parked it on the ground because they're like, we can't take our ship in there.
They're also probably like, get me out of here because they're both in the same plane.
But they were the ones most eager to leave the plane. So
they made a comment like, if you don't breathe as much, like,
oh yeah, they only had so much oxygen, and there's 2 of them in there.
Just don't breathe so much.
I'm assuming the barrier is just for the planes. Like, he doesn't want the planes to get in.
So they go through a vent, because it shows that, of them going through a vent to get into the control room.
Yeah, so they walk through the vents to the Andros Control Center, and they blow up Andros's power source, which is a piggy data bank. Remember Herbert?
Herbert! Okay, is this the same Herbert that they stole? Because that's another question I have.
I'm very confused by the Herbert lore here, because Herbert's not in the game. So I thought there was... Why is he the MVP? He brings back the bad guy.
You gotta have the plot going.
Terrible. Herbert.
He survives. He's a survivor.
Okay. Herbert... I thought was like there's multiple ones of him, to be honest.
But then they're like, there's a Herbert 2, but they're like, oh look, it's Herbert. But I'm like, but then isn't
so they stole a Herbert
Yeah.
from the train. It's either the same Herbert that just gets around, like
because they bring it up later, and I was confused because they talked about the tear stain or the rust from the tear, which we're about to find out where that comes from, but. It's like, wait, then that means he wasn't.
I don't know
there?
if it's the same pig. I thought it was a clone. Like there's a bunch
I thought it was
Herberts.
a different one too, but then things got confusing again. And
so they just blew up Herbert. Just accept that Herbert got exploded.
He is the key to Andros's base.
He's a giant robot pig, and he's hanging out there charging up Andros's big face that's shooting tiles at Fox. Pippi and Slippy blow it up, and that causes the core to be exposed, and Fox shoots the core, which is what Andros is, and oh, hooray!
Everything.
The first game is done.
Exploded.
X6, fly again.
Beware the stingrays.
A ship is flying over Sector Y. It gets attacked by stellar stingrays, and it crashes down next to Fox and Cruz. They're talking about their girlfriends.
Yeah, that was weird.
Bear and Fox are chilling. I think Slippy started talking about his girlfriend.
Yeah, and he's like, I didn't know you have a girlfriend. And he's like, yeah, we've been dating like this whole time. Like, here's a picture.
Well, Falco's a jerk, so he's not paying attention. Falco doesn't have a girlfriend, so...
Always second best.
Well, that's not 100% true. There is this cat lady that shows up.
A cat and a bird.
Well, I mean, think about the group here. We've got a fox and a hare, and a falcon and a frog. We've got 2 prey and 2 predators, and they make it work. Zootopia. Okay, cut to Pepper, debriefing the group on how the once peaceful stingrays are hostile now, and he wants
just like plopping on everyone's ship. It's just like bloop. There's stingray.
They're plopping. It's
dangerous.
Not
like they're stinging them.
Dangerous plops. Bloop. They're heavy. They're big. He wants StarFox to check it out.
But they
decide to stop
to get
on Titania to get ice cream before heading back.
To get some fuel.
They're like, we deserve a break. It's like they went immediately from this to that. Like they weren't breaking in between. Whatever, guys.
It's a hard knock life.
So Slippy's gonna stay.
He's like, bring me back to my ice cream though.
To repair the ship or whatever. Like check it out.
Because there's these lizards that are working there, and they're being super helpful.
They used to be.
Look.
Andros's.
Yeah, I guess
lizards.
They were being mind controlled, but now no longer. They're helping everyone else.
They're helping everybody, but not really, because that lizard that was helping out Slippy just knocks him out and steals his ship.
Why does he take Slippy?
I think he's gonna give him to Andros because he's friends with Fox, and he knows that Andros would think that that's cool.
I feel like that was a liability.
Well, I mean, on driving on his way back, he was like, "Oh, I got an R-wing and one of Fox's pilots. Oh boy, Andros gonna be so pleased." You know, minion stuff.
Yes.
Little goon garbage over here.
So Andros is still alive. They did not destroy him.
The B team that's eating ice cream sees the R-wing take off, and they're like, "Wait, that's not a frog in the cockpit.
That's not a frog.
That's a lizard." So they all grab their ships and they all follow. They give chase, but the lizard goes into a black hole
because they copied what he did.
And the rest of the group is out of fuel.
What?
And getting attacked by stingrays.
No.
Tune in next week for the exciting adventures of StarFox.
Act 7 on StarFox.
Whale Song.
Act 7 Whale Song. So these stingrays, they have an extra tail.
They have an antenna protruding.
And they're like, that's weird, let's shoot it.
So they do, and now they're peaceful again, and they fly off.
Like, who's controlling these stingrays?
They're like, it's gotta be Andros. I know we killed him, but it's gotta be.
And this is where the plot falls.
What?
This whale.
I love this whale.
Whale of a tail.
Was the best. Okay.
It was so weird and random, and...
But before the whale shows up,
Yes.
Slippy is chained up to a cross.
Oh, this is where we get the evil plan telling.
And Andros is like, oh, let me tell you my evil scheme and my backstory. I was adopted by android pigs.
Android pigs. Which, I mean, Herbert then makes sense, sort of. But
Sort of.
how are you adopted by androids?
I don't live in the StarFox universe.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, they were killed in a Cornerian military experiment, so he wanted revenge, which is why he joined the military and then...
Became an evil doctor.
Then when he got exiled, he became an evil doctor. He was trying to sabotage it from within.
Yes.
But then he tried to sabotage it from without. Anyway, now we can talk about the giant whale.
And then we're back to StarFox and Friends. StarFox and Friends.
StarFox and Friends.
They don't have any gas.
They're out of gas.
Which they didn't refill when they were supposed to, I
I'm
guess.
assuming that the lizards tank their gas tanks.
Because I'm like, wow, that's not really good.
I'm giving the lizards a lot of credit, but that's what I'm thinking.
So they're like, where are we going to get gas? And then the black hole opens and a giant whale comes out.
Giant whale
like,
shooting fuel canisters at them.
Yeah, it just
out
has
of
a bunch
mouth.
of fuel canisters. I'm like, that's cheating.
That's funny. It's a trans-dimensional manifestation of a starship that has Fox's dad as a crew member on it.
But he's not going to show himself because...
No, but he will talk through
they're shy. So he's like, hey, son. And he's like, Dad.
Papa.
And he's like, sorry, we can't hang out anymore because I'm now part of this crew.
But Slippy and Andros are on Fortuna, so you should go check it out over there. Peace, son.
Catch you later.
Catch you on the flip side. And then the whale does a little flip and then he leaves. I know this is whack and kind of dumb, but
he also is like, you have to save the lilat system. You must do it.
He has to do it again.
He's got a destiny.
Act 8. Fire in the sky. We can burn twice as high. They fly to Fortuna.
And I bet Fortuna looks a lot like it's from Dr. Seuss.
I don't remember what it looks like.
It had like the truffle of trees and...
I'm trying to remember Fortuna in the game because there's a level that might be the jungle one. Slippy manages to knock out the guards with sleeping gas.
Boss. He's like, oh, this is too tight, and he's like, well, don't wear that stupid necklace, you vain little frog. And he's like, just loosen it for me.
Yeah, Slippy wears this like pearl looking necklace that apparently has sleeping gas in it. Prepped for all occasions. Andros decides to send out... Oh, yeah. It's the one with the vines.
So Fortuna in the comic and in the game look a little different.
It's just the jungle level. It has a bunch of vines. It also is the one where you fight this giant dragon that's about to show up called Dodora. Dodora.
Hola!
There's like a dragon hydra.
It's a hydra.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's a dragon. I'm like, and they call it something else too. I'm like, it's a hydra.
It's a dragon hydra. Because it has like the same colorings and like the... Do hydras have wings?
I don't think so.
So it's like a combo.
Yeah. It's got little tiny wings. There's no way those wings are gonna...
It does fly in the game. Dragon Hydra to fight Fox and crew. Slippy joins the fight. He grabs his R-Wing. He flies around. Fox destroys the antenna on the Dragon Hydra. And then the dragon steps on Andros, who's in this little ball thing, rolling around during this boss fight.
And Herbert is like, no. Weep, weep. That's what it said, weep, weep.
That's actually pretty good.
Oh. So, yes, once again, Andros is defeated.
Yay, we did it again. Act 9, though, so you know he's coming back.
I definitely wrote at the end of that, like,
that was a little bit anticlimactic, to be honest.
Yeah, I was like, man, these one-liners are awful.
Was it the weep weep? What was the one-liner that you were talking about?
I don't know. There's so many of them, but I'm just like, they were doing one-liners as they're, like, zooming by, and I'm just like, these are bad. Like, not even dad joke level bad. Like, bad.
Wait, give me your phone. I want to see.
This would make a cool series, though.
Right, I know. It'd be such a good cartoon.
The Giant.
It looked like they were gonna make one for Zero.
I think Netflix tried to do something.
Well, they
As long as it's not that weird live action thing that like Disney's doing now, like with Pinocchio and all
live
that
action
stuff.
StarFox would be horrifying.
Yeah, that would be like
I
my
would
nightmare.
be afraid of them.
Flat as an ape crepe.
Oh dang! Who said that?
That was Fox.
Oh.
The pancake one was Falco.
Lame.
And then I can't tell if it's the Lady Fox or the Guy Fox. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. Father, are you there? We did it.
And then his father is
Gives
giving
him a high five. He's like a projection, like a moon.
from the moon.
Thumbs up, son.
Yeah, son. Anyway, here comes the sun.
Here comes the
But
sun.
S-O-N, son. Act 9. Back on Venom, in ruins. On Andross's base.
We have Herbert.
Herbert clones Andross, but also brings Andross back to life. Now there's 2 Andross.
Yeah, so that was the other thing I was so confused. So
I was also a little bit confused in this part.
Because he's like, if you're watching this, I must be dead. Please take the hair that we have preserved and I need you to psycho print my brain patterns onto this clone. But then all of a sudden there's 2 clones.
Yeah, are they both clones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the one has one personality and the one has the other.
Oh, I see. Okay, so they
But
made
I'm
2
like,
clones.
where it like came out of nowhere that there's 2 of them.
I thought that they brought Andross back to life and also they made a clone. So
Because
now
it
there's
says,
just 2 of them.
I'm alive, I can breathe again. Well done, Herbert. I feel so good I could ravage a planet. And now that there are 2 of me, nothing can stop us. I was like, why are there 2?
So they 2 clones now. We have 2 Androsses to deal with. That was weird. I thought, because I was confused.
It's like plot twist.
You know, 2 clones makes more sense than bringing him back to life and creating a clone. Seems a little bit redundant.
Definitely. Because then he would have just cloned himself, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you would think. He always comes back. Every
Yeah.
villain in this
Well, I
series
was like, that makes
is
sense,
just Andross.
Because the first time they killed him, I was like, yeah, he definitely blew up in that base. But now that he's like cloning himself, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
I wonder if every Andross
Is a clone, none of the original.
Clone. Because every single StarFox, spoiler for every single StarFox game ever made, it's always Andross. No
And he
matter
always
what,
dies at the end, right?
he always dies at the end. So what if it's just a bunch of clones of Andross? Who knows?
All right, so we're
on
back
Papatoon.
on Papatoon. Poptoon.
Paptoon.
Well, we're gonna have to figure out how to say that word.
The StarFox team's coming back, and everyone in town celebrates and sings songs about how cool they are.
Let's make a statue.
They go back to their old base, and
Which no one's occupied, so, you know, the secret base.
the secret base that, what the heck's her name? Farah puts on Fox's mom's
Yeah, this
dress.
was creepy. Super creepy.
It is creepy. So they're supposed to be like a couple, I'm assuming is what they're trying
Yes,
to get across
there was
with
some,
Fox
like,
and Farah.
Couple pictures, like, where they're, like, holding each other.
Yeah.
Like, prom picture style.
But, you know, there's a dress that Fox just has
He's like,
preserved.
here. Like, out of nowhere. I just happen to have this dress.
I have this dress that's my mom's dress.
You look just like my mom. So
Yeah.
gross.
You could be your twin sister. And I'm like,
That's
I
like-
don't think that's something your girlfriend wants to
Some
hear.
Oedipus. But she keeps the dress on. I
The
guess she
whole
doesn't have
time.
anything else to wear, but
Maybe she just likes it.
also that the song that they sing, I want to say that's like a Robin Hood ripoff. There's like this chicken singing a song. They're like,
Well,
"Who's Fox?" And he's like, "Let me tell you the story, kid." And he like sings a song about.
that makes sense.
It's like that's definitely a Robin Hood ripoff.
They're supposed to be like Robin Hood types.
Yeah.
And animal people.
Like,
the Disney
oodle
one.
lolly, oodle lolly.
Okay,
Yeah, and then I
Herbert-
was like, dude, did he just tell his girlfriend that she looks like his mom?
Yeah, like your twin. That's
Ugh.
creepy. I don't like it. But then he never really knew his mom. He only knows her from photos. So I guess whatever.
Yeah. And then Herbert's still there.
Herbert's still there.
And they check in on him, and this is where
This was also weird. I agree.
he had like the tear stain, the rust stain from when Andros first died, because the Slippy's like, oh yeah, I saw him crying.
But he's in their base right now.
Yeah, but then he like disappears too.
So is it the same Herbert that just cloned him and then came back to their base to
I thought
be
that
like,
was Herbert too. Or does that come later?
That might be Herbert 2. So this is Herbert 1. That makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah, because we're almost done. So, yeah.
So Herbert 1 is sad and crying and in the corner. And Slippy's concerned about it.
Yeah. And then, like, Herbert just, like, dips. And he's
Yeah, Herbert dips. And Slippy's still concerned about it.
He's like, oh, there's a... Herbert's gone. That's
Nobody
not
else
good.
cares.
No. And then there's a
Parade.
Pigtown parade.
And a statue made in their honor.
And Falco's like, what the crap is that? Looks like a chicken.
I thought it looked fine.
Falcon? I thought it looked just like him.
Yeah.
That's unappreciative. Does this bring us to Act 10?
Close
to the edge.
Andros is going to Papatoon.
Yeah, Herbert's gone. He, like, dipped. And Andros is like, I'm going to take the fight to them.
Crush Fox in his own hometown.
Huge army that I've amassed in this really short amount of time.
I just thought he made a bunch of clones of himself, to be honest. I was like, maybe he just cloned himself and put him in, like, ships.
That probably would have been smarter than using the frogs.
Or maybe he didn't want to, because then he'd be too smart and wouldn't want to work for himself.
Yeah.
Complications.
And then he sees Farah, and he's like, wait.
Yeah, Pepper sees the fleets of ships leaving Venom for Pepatoon and warns Fox 2 of the R-Wings are destroyed.
Yeah, they attacked them right away.
So now we only have 3?
I don't know what number we're on now.
Well, we have to have 3 because Falco, Fox, and Peppy take the remaining ships.
Okay.
I think we had 5. Now we have 3. Because I'm going to say Farah got her own ship back from the last time. So now Slippy and Farah are just hanging out on this planet that's getting, like, carpet bombed and exploded. And then Andros... Actually, Act 11, Hello, Goodbye, is where Andros starts to get weird.
Well, it's like before Act 11, it's like Andros had a thing with Fox's mom.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, maybe she's still alive. I love her.
I love her.
Forgive me, Vixie. I was young, in love, and had a spare bomb.
So yeah, this is where we find out that Andros killed Fox's mom by planting a bomb in Fox's dad's
accidentally on purpose.
car, but he didn't think Fox's mom was gonna be in the car.
So he was just trying to kill Fox's dad because he was taking her attention. So if I can't have her, I'm gonna kill her competition.
Yeah.
And then Vixie got in the car and she
Blew up.
But he's like got this weird thought that like if I'm back as a clone, maybe she's also alive as a clone.
It was just one of them though.
Yeah.
Just one of the clones is thinking this. The other one is mad that this one's doing this.
And he's like, don't you remember? And he's like, no.
Because the other clone is like, hey, all ships
business.
return to base. I don't want you to shoot my love interest down here. And the other one's like, what are you doing? Meanwhile... Fox, Falco, and Peppy are going into the base's core. The other Andros just shoots the lovesick one.
Yeah.
Just zaps him. He's dead.
And then Fox finds out that Andros killed his mom, and now he's super mad.
He also sabotaged his dad's ship.
Yeah.
And that's why he's stuck in a black hole. So he didn't get him the first time. He killed his mom. So he tried again when he volunteered to use his bomb.
After the mom was already dead. Like, I don't get what the point is to kill him a second time.
You just hates him so much.
So much.
Just hates that guy.
It's his fault. Should have been driving that car, not her. And Fox gets super mad, and this is where he gets super scary again.
Yeah, and he blows up the core, and everyone's afraid of him. They're like, let's just let Fox do that.
Yeah.
You know, he's throwing so many bombs at the core.
Right.
Andros and Herbert get away by flying into the black hole, but Fox is like, my father and his interdimensional time whale will take care of it from here.
Long live the StarFox team.
StarFox team.
And that's the end, folks.
That's it. That's the whole story. That's the backstory you need to know before going in to StarFox.
Do you actually need to know that?
No, I'm making a joke.
Okay.
This is a different retelling of the same events.
Oh, but it's an introduction to the characters, though. So would you read this before you play, or does it matter?
It doesn't.
And...
I'd probably read this after you play any of the StarFox games, because you'd probably get more out of it that way.
No, because I had lots of questions.
Yeah. It probably would turn you off, I think, from playing a StarFox game, because you'd be like, what?
Well, I have to be like, is this like, maybe this is explained in the game, and I just don't understand.
And then you'd play the game, and you'd be like, where's the interdimensional time whale?
That is exactly what I would have.
What the heck? Yeah. There is stuff in the game that was in the comics, but I don't think there was a lot.
Just most of the main characters.
Main characters and like that thing with the black hole and
Andros and
the planets. All the planets are in the game.
Does that talk about
Except
like
for
why
Pepitude?
they are Nemesi in the Andros
Why?
and StarFox, is that the same?
I only know the plot of 64. And
Okay.
what I know about that is James McLeod, his dad,
Mm-hmm.
Peppy Hare, and this pig named Pigma were like a group like StarFox, and they went in to go fight Andros, who, is trying to take over the whole Lilat system. And Pigma betrays the team, and Peppy gets out, but James doesn't. Then he goes back and helps create the StarFox team, which is a band of mercenaries. But they must have some military training, but they're so vague if they do or not, because there is a section of the 64 game where you can go to like a military fight between Andros's forces and like the Cornerian military. And there's like your old pal Bill from the academy there, and he's like, Fox, what's up, man? He's like, Bill, it's good to
He could have
see
learned
you.
how to fly somewhere. I mean,
So like,
probably could have learned from his dad, but
there's not a lot of backstory there, but you can kind of imply things.
I mean, it is early gaming system.
It's kind of cool
so
that you can imply things, and because each time you play Star Fox is a different experience, because there's 3 different routes to take. And if you do certain things on a certain planet, you go to another planet, and then you'll get more of the story. Like if you go up, you'll learn more about
So it's like a flow chart.
Falco, and if you go down, there's like stuff about Slippy, and then it's kind of cool. Our next book. Our next book is God of War by J M Barlog.
Because Ragnarok is coming out in November.
Yep.
So we are going back to the first game of the Viking saga and to remember all the stuff and characters because we played it like over a year ago. So
Yeah, it's been a while.
we are going to revisit the world of father and son and severed head in order to prepare for Ragnarok.
See you on the other side.